Hello, everyone. Welcome to back my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Now that the bold and the beautifuls Liam and Hope are married, again, we're looking back on the festive ceremony and reception, and we're thinking about what was lacking. One of the obvious answers is Sheila's absence. Some fans expected her to crash the wedding, but there are two other things she could have done that she didn't do, and it was disappointing. Sheila should have overheard Steffi call her delusional on the bold and the beautiful. We all know that Sheila, Kimberlyn Brown, is not above eavesdropping on conversations on the bold and the beautiful. She did it when Deacon, Sean Kanan, embraced Taylor, Rebecca Budig, at the end of their session. When Steffi, Jacqueline McInnes Wood, visited Taylor at her office, shortly after Sheila left, it was a little surprising that the B&B writers didn't have Sheila stand outside the door and listen in on Steffi and Taylor's conversation. If she'd done that, then she would have heard Steffi call her delusional for expecting an invitation to Lope's wedding. That would have added insult to injury, and Sheila would have felt even more enraged than she already was, especially after she thought Taylor called her crazy for considering crashing the wedding. It felt like the B&B writers missed a prime opportunity for Sheila to do a typical Sheila thing. She could have left the office building in a fury, thinking, "Steffi called me delusional after I saved her from Lisa Yamada at the beach house, and after I saved her daughter Kelly from drowning in the ocean." Maybe hearing that insult would have reignited Dark Sheila, and Dark Sheila means dangerous Sheila. Sheila should have peeked through Bill's window during the wedding. Since we were deprived of the fun of watching Sheila crash Lope's wedding on the bold and the beautiful, couldn't we at least get a scene where Sheila spies on the festivities through the window? We know Bill, Don Diamont, has security overseeing his property, but this is a soap, and this is Sheila we're talking about. Supervillain Sheila Carter is very sly and cunning. She could have easily stood outside the window and kept herself out of view. She could have hidden behind the curtain and watched the joyful celebration that she wasn't allowed to be a part of. We would have seen her eyes narrow into an evil stare, and that would have made for a great Friday cliffhanger. We would have wondered, will she go inside on Monday's episode and confront Hope, Annika Noel, for not inviting her? And if she does, will Deacon then give her a dirty look for crashing his daughter's wedding reception? Where did Sheila go after she left Taylor's office? This was one of those monumental B&B moments when we needed Sheila's presence. She came to Taylor's office feeling agitated and venting for being excluded from her stepdaughter's wedding. What happened to her after she left? We needed follow-up, but we never got it. Where did Sheila go? How did she eventually calm herself down? Did she go home and read a good book? Did she take a relaxing bubble bath? Did she have a glass or two of wine? We know Sheila doesn't accept rejection. And yet, when Taylor advised her not to crash the wedding, Sheila left the office and obediently stayed away from Bill's house. We were waiting to see whether she was plotting some kind of revenge against Hope, but instead, we saw no more of Sheila. It felt as though she vanished into thin air. That's not the Sheila Carter we've known for the past 35 years. She never handles defeat that way. She always takes some kind of action to be seen or heard, but this time, she didn't do a darn thing. And because of that, it was a big letdown. What do you all think? Was it disappointing that Sheila did absolutely nothing to be accepted after she left Taylor's office? Tell us in the comments section. On the bold and the beautiful, few characters embody chaos quite like Sheila Carter. Decades into her reign as one of daytime television's most infamous villains, Sheila still manages to turn any major Forrester or Logan milestone into a personal battleground. So when Hope Logan's wedding day arrived, a day meant to symbolize healing, faith, and new beginnings, it was almost inevitable that Sheila would find a way to insert herself into the narrative. And of course, she did, because Sheila crashing a wedding is practically a genre of its own. But let's imagine, just for a moment, an alternate universe. A universe where Sheila Carter, instead of choosing maximum destruction, made two very different choices on the day of Hope's wedding. Choices that could have shifted her future, altered how others see her, and maybe, even just maybe, changed her destiny on the canvas of the bold and the beautiful. Here are two things Sheila should have done on Hope's wedding day, besides crashing it. 1. Sheila should have let silence be her loudest statement. For someone like Sheila Carter, silence is radical. It's unfamiliar. It's terrifying. And that's exactly why it would have been so powerful. Sheila has spent most of her life demanding attention through manipulation, intimidation, emotional warfare, and outright criminal behavior. Her presence is always announced with tension, fear, and raised voices. But on the day of Hope's wedding, the most shocking move Sheila could have made would have been to stay away entirely. Not lurk, not spy, not plot in the shadows. Truly stay away. Imagine the ripple effect of that decision. Hope, already burdened by years of trauma connected to Sheila, would have walked down the aisle without the familiar knot of dread in her stomach. Finn, torn between the biological pull of his mother and the moral clarity of his marriage, would have felt relief rather than guilt. Steffi, perpetually braced for Sheila's next strike, might have experienced something close to peace. Sheila's absence would have spoken volumes. It would have suggested restraint, growth, or at least the beginning of it. And perhaps most importantly, it would have forced everyone else to confront an uncomfortable truth. If Sheila didn't show up to ruin the moment, then maybe, just maybe, she wasn't as irredeemable as they believed. On a soap where redemption arcs are currency, silence could have been Sheila's most strategic move. Not every battle needs to be fought in public. Sometimes, the most devastating statement is refusing to play the villain everyone expects. Instead of being remembered as the woman who ruined Hope's wedding, Sheila could have planted the seeds of a long game, one built not on fear, but on doubt. Doubt in her enemies, doubt in her reputation, doubt in the certainty that she would always choose destruction. For Sheila Carter, choosing not to act would have been the boldest act of all. 2. Sheila should have chosen accountability over excuses. If Sheila absolutely had to mark the day in some way, there was another path, one far more dangerous to her ego than any dramatic interruption. She could have taken responsibility, not in a manipulative, half-apology kind of way, not with tears designed to soften hearts or words crafted to confuse the narrative, but real accountability. Sheila's history with Hope, Steffi, Finn, and the entire Forrester Logan Spencer orbit is soaked in pain. She has lied, harmed, threatened, and traumatized people who were already vulnerable. Yet, when confronted, Sheila almost always pivots, blaming her past, her loneliness, or someone else's cruelty. Hope's wedding day could have been a turning point. Sheila could have written a letter, one she never intended to deliver publicly. A letter acknowledging the damage she caused. A letter admitting that love, when twisted into obsession, becomes something poisonous. A letter stating that she understood why she wasn't welcome and that she accepted the consequences of her actions. No demands, no ultimatums, no expectations of forgiveness, just truth. This kind of accountability wouldn't have instantly redeemed Sheila, nor should it have. Redemption on the bold and the beautiful is rarely swift, and it's never clean. But a genuine moment of self-awareness could have reframed her role in the story, from cartoon villain to complicated, damaged human being. For Finn especially, such a gesture would have mattered. He is caught between blood and belief, between the mother who gave him life and the man he wants to be. Seeing Sheila take responsibility without trying to manipulate the outcome could have eased his internal war, even if it didn't change his boundaries. And for Hope, whose character often embodies forgiveness and faith, that kind of accountability would have carried symbolic weight. It would have affirmed that her belief in goodness isn't naive, it's aspirational. Instead of using the wedding as a stage for chaos, Sheila could have used it as a mirror. The tragedy of Sheila Carter, what makes Sheila Carter such a compelling character, isn't just her capacity for evil. It's the constant sense that she almost understands herself, almost sees the damage, almost chooses differently. Hope's wedding was one of those crossroads. By crashing it, Sheila reinforced every fear others had about her. She chose spectacle over substance, reaction over reflection. It was dramatic, yes, but it was also predictable. And that predictability is Sheila's greatest enemy. Had she chosen silence or accountability instead, the story could have shifted in quieter, more unsettling ways. Ways that would have challenged the other characters and the audience to reconsider who Sheila is and who she might still become. Because in the world of the bold and the beautiful, the most powerful transformations don't always happen in front of a crowd. Sometimes they happen in the moments no one sees,